Good taste is purity. People have become desensitized to what a restaurant is really there for. And that's to provide pleasure and to nurture people's confidence and humility. This is a very incestuous business.
Yeah.
It's literally like an extended family. There was a few times when in my restaurants, I would look around the restaurant on a Sunday or Monday and it was no civilians. I had a room full of chefs and sommeliers and managers because your body does hold traumas, scars, bruises, wounds. It was the best, worst thing that ever happened to me because it...
Today I'm joined by somebody who helped define the energy of the Chicago dining scene. Jason, your story is truly a thing of evolution. From opening some restaurants that are Chicago classics such as Butter, Juno, and most recently Gavroche. You have multiple national recognition. You are a martial arts educator. You are a chef. You are a restaurateur. You survived stage 4 cancer. I love your story, and it truly is one of resilience and of success. Jason Chan, thank you so much for joining us. This is all in good taste.
Absolute pleasure to be here. You humble me.
Oh, no, I love you. So
Sincerely. Love you back, brother.
Well, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about Gavroche and how this came into existence, and how do you welcome guests in?
I mean, to start the concept, I basically wanted to open a restaurant that was unlike any other French restaurant in Chicago, maybe even in the country. And I know that's a bold statement, but essentially, you know, French food was a trend back in the 80s and 90s when I became totally immersed in French cuisine. I'm classically trained. I started at L'Escargot on Michigan Avenue in the Allerton Hotel and Rue St. Clair in the St. Clair Hotel. And like everyone else at the time, I was really fascinated. I was a Francophile. I was obsessed with French food because it represented the upper echelon of cuisine. And so now, 40 years later, there's literally 18, 19 French restaurants now. They're all primarily bistros, which are a little more casual and rustic and definitely comfort food. And so what I did when I came up with this concept, it wasn't rocket science. What I basically told myself was, there's 19 French restaurants. I don't want to be the 20th. So let's dare to be different, and let's just do a tip of the hat. Let's respect French cuisine and its roots in classic, authentic French food. But let's put a modern touch with really intricate ingredients and techniques and make it and be innovatively disruptive. Disrupt the whole
I love that.
Chicago French cuisine market and do something completely polar opposite.
Cool. I know in the start of there you mentioned about some of the places that you were classically trained. Where did that transition, what did you learn from switching? I know very early in your career you started in the back of house space and then you came over to front of house. What were some of those key lessons that you got from there? What is different? What is front of house and what is back of house?
For me, personally, it was a matter of skill set. Okay. I started out in the back of the house, and that's art and science. It's a technical skill. And I think when you're a young cook or young wannabe chef, you're doing the same thing as the front of the house. You're just refining basic fundamental techniques. But there's more of a technical skill in the back of the house. Transitioning into the front of the house, I realized that it was more about an emotional skill. And you can certainly, you know, make the food your language, and you're putting your heart, I mean, you're putting your TLC into the food that you're creating, but you're front facing to a guest, there is no middleman. You're literally in front of the guest.
Yeah, you have to own it.
And you get to project that energy and emote, literally project your emotions to someone to make them feel like they're the most important person in the room, to really affect with your energy how their experience comes to fruition.
Yeah, I know you also grew up in restaurants too.
I did.
Is there any memories from your youth that specifically has inspired you on how you welcome people into your space?
Absolutely. I always like to say that I got, like everything else in life, you have book smarts and you have street smarts. And, you know, working in corporate restaurants, as you have done also, working in the corporate restaurant business was literally like college. It was book smarts. But my germination of hospitality, food, and beverage was with my parents, and that was mom and pop, and that was more street smarts. And so I guess to answer your question directly, what I saw was my parents executing hospitality and food and beverage in a way that was very nurturing, and it transcended their language barrier because they were both immigrants from, my dad was from Hong Kong and my mom is from Korea. And they opened up an Irish pub. That was their first.
Which is great. I love that.
And what really captured and captivated everyone's love for their food was their hospitality, because even though they were limited by language, and it's not that they didn't speak English, they just didn't speak it very well.
Yeah.
But my mom spoke with her food, and my dad spoke with his unbelievable hospitality and service, and so he was kind of the general manager and ran the bar program.
Gotcha.
My mom was in the kitchen and ran the food, but together through the staff that they trained and hired, they were just executing just fine dining service, but in a casual way.
Yeah, and I love that. Also, talking about it being an Irish pub, right? There's a stereotype or a thing with Irish pubs that you can find them anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
Wherever you go, you're always going to find an Irish pub. And I think it's a nice little note to the Irish style of hospitality too. I think it's just cool places where people can talk, communicate, and be in a room together. What is the first things that you want guests to feel when they actually walk into this restaurant in particular?
Well, I think that ties into my first experience and what I basically try to create in the narrative that's been prevalent for me my entire life is that all my guests feel nurtured. And the great thing about this space is that from the minute they walk in, there's a sense of familiarity. And that familiarity is your home. Yeah. It's a very small space. The kitchen's right a central and a significant part of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So visually, when you walk in, your expectations and any inhibitions are kind of lowered a little bit, because you really do feel like you're walking into my home.
Yeah.
And then, it starts from before the guest walks in, their first interaction is making a reservation. I don't do any reservation platforms, so I'm not on OpenTable or Resy or Talk. You have to call the restaurant. You have to go through the website to send me an email. So the first interaction, guests have to reach out to the restaurant, but then there's a human voice following up. And I love the fact that I get to know each of my guests before they come in. I know their name. I know their dietary restrictions. I know their party size. I know what they're celebrating. More importantly, if I'm the first voice, I'm also the first person they see when they walk in. To me, there's just like mise en place and just like prepping. The mise en place is before the guest even arrives at the restaurant. I've already prepped that aspect of the guest. And when they come in, from the minute they walk in to their experience and to the minute they walk out, I hold the door for them. I thank them as the proprietor of the restaurant for coming and hope they have a great night. And I'm able to do that only because of the logistics of the space. It's very, very small. It's a petite restaurant.
Yeah.
I like to call it a micro restaurant, and it's a kind of hyper chamber of comfort and luxury.
Yeah. Jumping off of that right there, talking about booking reservations over the phone and doing it, on paper, it's incredibly classic. I feel
Very
like
old school.
These booking systems are, relatively new in the restaurant space, and it's kind of interesting to see how tech is impacting what we're, doing today and day in, day out. How do you manage the paper books? Is it literally just like going down the line and crossing things off? How do you keep that organized for being a space that has so much want? Because people want to come join you here. How do you manage those sorts of expectations? Because like you said, you do only have 24 seats. It's an intimate space. How do you get guests in?
It's not that difficult, because it's literally the difference between having a flip phone or an iPhone. It takes a few more seconds or a few more minutes to book reservations than digitally on a platform. Mm-hmm. But for me, that's exactly it. That's what's missing. I think hospitality and the romance of restaurants has become too digitalized and become too virtual. So for me, I literally have a reservation book.
Yeah.
I log everything, the time, the size of the party, the name, the occasion or event that they're celebrating, if at all. But more importantly, right from jump, I get to ask them if they've ever been into the restaurant before.
Yeah.
I have a skill set where I have great facial recognition. I guess that's why I do so well in this business, is I always remember guests that come back in. I remember their face. More importantly, I have really great memory when it comes to names. But if right from the get-go I take a reservation, I already really pretty much have an idea if they've been in or not. So for me, it's that real human connection that I think is lacking.
Yeah.
Because even now, if you want to change a reservation, you call. It's an automated
Yeah,
prompt.
it's a bot. Yeah,
Or it'll
absolutely.
tell you just type in this number or type in that number to cancel or confirm.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that takes a lot of people have become desensitized to
Yeah.
what a restaurant is really there for. And that's to provide pleasure and to nurture people. So how can you nurture people if their first contact with a restaurant isn't
Isn't a
with the
person?
human being?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's an incredible segue, talking about being, personal and getting in front of people and really genuinely connecting with people. That word of personal connection and actually connecting with a guest. I know you've said before that perfection can block connection. For me, the best styles of service always have a little bit of hiccups, a little bit of a mistake. It's really those superhuman pieces. How do you create a space here for your team to genuinely connect in a real level with your guests?
Well, it's training because I preempted their training and any new employee, although we really haven't had any new employees since we opened.
But that's incredible.
It is.
Turnover in restaurants
it says a lot.
Yeah, it says
It
a lot.
does.
So that's
The way I trained them is said, look, you're literally inviting people into your home, and the way I've set up the restaurant is that's the exact outline and template of the restaurant. There's a really great 3-star Michelin restaurant, Smith.
yes.
And you walk in and you feel like you're walking into someone's loft apartment, and there's the kitchen.
Yeah.
And from the manner and in which the way you were treated from the minute you make the reservation to seating to dining and then leaving the restaurant, the familiarity is that, wow, I just felt like it wasn't a restaurant.
Yeah.
I felt like I was personally invited into someone's home for a dinner party, and there was other guests sitting around me. So to answer your question, really, from get-go, I train all my staff, everyone, to imagine that when a guest walks in that front door, they're wearing a chalkboard around their neck, and on the chalkboard it says, "Make me feel special." Because that arms them with any situation that comes up, and that is good or bad.
Yeah.
And mistakes, every business is problem solving. Some solve computer repair, some solve widget sales.
Yeah.
In the restaurant business, the phrase or the cliche is you can't make everybody happy all the time, but that's what we do in the restaurant business. And it's very difficult, it's very draining. The way I literally train my staff is that, listen, when people come in here, we have the opportunity and the luxury that we're only 24 seats. So what does that mean? You've had parties at your house, you've had Friendsgiving. I had 100 people at my house last Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's not difficult for you to give the most amazing hospitality and nurturing every person that walks through this door. We have enough people so that you only have, literally in your pod, we only have 2 servers a night.
Yeah.
You only have 4 tables. That means you give specialized care and nurturing to the people that come in. So for me, again, to answer it as succinctly as I can, I arm my staff with all the tools and everything that they need to give the most, for me, hospitality, not service. And that means exceeding the guest expectations. And how do we do that? Every movement and everything that we do, we try to anticipate what the guest's needs are before they ask for it. And that's easier to do. Think of first class on an airplane.
Yeah.
First class has maybe 8 to 12 seats, and then there's 200 seats that are economy.
Yeah.
Because of the footprint, it's very, the staff, the flight attendants, 2 flight attendants have the ability to give ultra care and hospitality to those 8 to 12 guests. Because the other 200, they're just getting service.
They're just getting
service.
service.
Is what
Yes.
happens to you.
Yeah.
Hospitality is what happens for you. So we literally are trained here to make sure that a lot of things happen for our guests, not just to them.
I love that. And
Yeah,
on
yes,
that,
sir.
I love all of that. And I know you briefly mentioned about recovery, right?
Yeah.
And how you can build on that and build probably a deeper relationship just from recovering successfully. Can you share with us a story or a time where, something did go wrong and how you fixed it and where that relationship has gone since?
Well, to piggyback on the previous question, and I'll expand on it, is that we're in the business to solve problems. The main problem is pleasure and nurturing and food and hospitality. So we thrive, and everybody here has been also trained to know that this is restaurant business. There are going to be mistakes every single night, and instead of being fearful or anxious of them, I want you to gravitate towards those mistakes, because that's how you get fans, not just repeat guests, not just loyal guests, but you really have, that's your segue, that's your door opening to create hospitality, so that you get a guest that's going to be gravely affected by how you handled the problem. So how you handle mistake is also the level of hospitality and success for a restaurant. So I tell them every night in pre-shift, recognition, speed, and recovery. Any mistake we have, let's search for them.
Yeah.
Because that's how we affect the guests and tell them, wow, that, they just turn that whole situation around. So mistakes are the key to success in the restaurant business.
So we just talked about doing guest recovery. Now I kind of want to flip to the other side. Last time we were chatting, we were discussing something called bumps, or you like to call them bumps.
Yeah.
What is a bump, Jason?
Well, there's many different, it depends on the context. There's many different forms of bumps. There's caviar bumps, there's
other bumps.
So for me, a bump is a phrase that I picked up somewhere. It's a fine dining term when you want to send a supplement, you want to you want to make a friend, you want to send an extra gift to the table to make that table feel special. And it isn't recovery.
Yeah.
It isn't something to make up for a mistake. It's something that you send so that the guest specifically doesn't expect it. For me, really, really amazing service and hospitality is knowing what a guest doesn't like. It's easy to look at a chit on a ticket that says Aidan likes the sparkling water and Aidan likes lamb. To know the things that the guest doesn't prefer is great. And then on top of that, I call it like an and one. So when you get fouled in basketball while you're making a shot, and then you get the and one, it's kind of like that. If there's something that a guest doesn't like, and we've already recognized that, and like, okay, they don't like finfish, so we're going to send out some Miyazaki, but then on top of that, we're going to send out something else. We're going to also do a bump. We'll put some truffles on it, or we'll send them some foie gras.
I love that.
Or we'll send them an extra veggie dish that they do like. So for me, a bump for a table is always literally giving them a little extra love and TLC.
Okay. On that same note, what is the best bump you've ever gotten?
The best bump I've ever gotten, well, it's great. Some days it's great being Jason Chan. I have several chefs, they're dear friends of mine.
Yeah.
And a lot of them know what my proclivities are and what I love. It's not hard to figure out. I'm a simple man. I love Yuengling beer. I love tequila. I love caviar. I love a lot of the amazing accoutrement that people get at restaurants. So I think for me, one of the greatest bumps I ever got is for my birthday. I went to a restaurant, and they presented a bottle of Yuengling beer, which you couldn't get at the time in Chicago. It was only east of the Mississippi. And they presented like a bottle of champagne.
That's incredible.
And they just
you do a little tasting too?
Yeah. My best friend did that at his restaurant for one of my birthdays. And it's just a common theme whenever I go to Le Bouchon every week for lunch, which is my day off.
Incredible.
And they always send out something extra, so I get extra bumps everywhere I go. Only because, as you know, this is a very incestuous business.
Yes.
It's literally like an extended family everywhere you go, and the way we recognize one another being in the industry is to always send out a bump.
Yeah, and then on that same note too, I know you like to keep your restaurant open a little bit later and host industry guests. How does the energy change in the space while you have, servers or bartenders getting off work and coming to see you, or chefs coming off? Like, how does the space change? What does it energetically feel like in here?
That's a great question, and the best way I can describe it, energetically, the way a room changes when there were times in my other past restaurants, I've always opened on Sunday and Monday so that industry people knew that they had a sanctuary to go to. because traditionally the days off for most managers, chefs,
Yeah.
executives is on Sunday and Monday. There was a few times when in my restaurants, I would look around the restaurant on a Sunday or Monday and it was no civilians. It was all, I had a room full of chefs and
Yeah.
sommeliers and managers. And for me, the energy changes because it's like the movie Matrix.
Yeah.
When Neo becomes self-aware and self-realized at the end and he's fighting the agent with black glasses.
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
the whole room expands and now he's like,
Ready to go.
beat your ass. The whole room, the air is silkier.
Yeah.
The noise level changes from like cafeteria to like a symphony.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the record goes, and then it becomes a different vibe and a different energy, and the room almost expands and swells. Because when you have a room full of chefs, line cooks, servers, bartenders, all in one room where the majority of the people are in the room are in the service industry,
Yeah.
it really becomes a total celebration almost instantly. People are, let me let my hair down, let me slip into some comfortable shoes. It's the end of the day. It goes far past enjoying a shift drink. It's like, it's what the restaurant business is all about, which is, let me just go here because now I know I'm going to be nurtured.
Yeah.
I'm going to be taken care of because I've omitted and expelled so much of myself. I've emptied my tank making delicious food or giving amazing service. You're literally emotionally bankrupt.
Yeah.
And you need to go somewhere to get your tank refilled. The way I look at it is that in the industry, you have a stack of coins at the beginning of service, and by the end of the night, you have no coins left because you've given them all
Yeah,
away.
you're giving away.
For me personally, what I like to do to restore my tank, what gives me, what compensates for all the hospitality and managing the egos of the kitchen, the front of the house, guests, my own ego. I like to go out and dine with friends and family because that's how I get my coins back.
I love that. I couldn't have said that better than I do the same thing. Dining is such a
It is.
good and healthy space, especially, getting to share it with other people in the space. I have had so many friends who, they go off, they work at different restaurants. It's a wonderful time to go reconnect or visit them too. So like
Absolutely.
Singing those sorts of praises is really, really cool to me. Energy seems to be a medium and a thing for everything that you sculpt. And I kind of want to jump in on some life experiences that you've had. I know you have in the past referred to dealing with cancer as the worst, best thing that's ever happened to you. Can you kind of explain that?
Sure. It always affects me in a very deep part of my soul, and I can identify it as a place of gratitude.
Yeah.
I think when a human being is faced with a situation in their life where they're looking into an abyss and nothing's looking back, and you're really scared, and you have the ultimate fear in your mind, body, and soul, that you're looking into this darkness and there's nothing looking back at you. That's when you really find what's in your heart, not your mind, not even in your body, because your body does hold traumas, scars, bruises, wounds. It was the best, worst thing that ever happened to me because it changed the dynamic of how I perceive my entire life. My gratitude level, I can't say it tripled, it went 1,000-fold. And now I see my life through kaleidoscope eyes, and it's very hard because every day the main thing I do is mitigate and ameliorate the difference between small things, meaning the most littlest things in life, you can't sweat those little things.
Yeah.
People flipping you off, someone being pissed for no reason, someone stepping on your foot. But then the other little things like, looking at my mom's face and her touching my hand or my face, or, seeing the smile on my stepson's face when I make him a sandwich, or I, wake up and see my and my beautiful partner laying next to me to start every morning. So every day I think, what is the little thing that I shouldn't sweat, and what is the little thing that I should really savor as a moment that's going to take me back to the place when I realized, when I was looking into that abyss and nothing was looking back, the only thing that was in my heart was the inventory completely of the people that I loved. My mother and father, my best friends, my dearest family, and now my own family, my fiance and my stepson. And so that has been such an amazing experience for me, because now it keeps me in the present, always realizing that every moment and every memory that I create, I'm very, very grateful for, and that I can never sweat the little things, but I have to inventory those little things that are in my heart, so that when ultimately it does come time for me to transition into another place in another world, I know what I'm bringing with me. Because I've said this before, I really don't think when it's your time and your number's up that your life flashes before your eyes. My life didn't. What did happen was that very, very specific things were in my heart, and I knew that was what you can take with you. You can't take anything else with you. There's a billion memories, but I only took what was in my heart. And at that time, it was my handful of best friends, my dog, my mom and dad, and, my cousins and my dear family. So I know that when it ultimately comes for me to check out and go on the 86 board, I know that what I'm taking with me is going to be a very small but very valuable part of my heart, my life.
I love that.
Thank you.
And honestly, thank you for being so open and sharing that and talking about these really important small things that we connect with. I feel like I see that a lot in the space that we're sitting in right now. And I know you've talked about this space being your dream, and this is your dream restaurant. So I'd love to hear the synergy and the life story that you just shared with me there.
Thank you. Well, it's, I can't take credit for all, because even though this is my dream space and my dream restaurant, it's no coincidence that everybody loves the way it's designed, and my dream girl designed the entire space. So, nothing's a coincidence. The fact that this is my dream restaurant and my dream space, the other half of it was my other half.
And I would love to touch on that briefly if we may too, because before we got on camera, we were talking about, weddings and fiancés and things like that. And you gave me this really beautiful quote about only inviting people to your wedding who, have dined with you in your house. Like, I love that. I love the idea of getting so personal and so connected. I don't even know if I have a question from that. I just wanted to share that really resonated with me when we were talking about it earlier.
I can't take credit for it. Someone that I really highly revere in my life and has been a mentor for me for over, almost a little over 40 years now. I was married before, very briefly, and he told me, when you get married, he's been married 5 times.
So he's an expert.
So he's either an expert or a huge failure. I don't know which one. But, I think it came, for me, success isn't the opposite of failure. Failure is a big part of success. You cannot be successful unless you failed. And I don't want to say my first marriage was a failure. We're the best of friends and great friends and everything. But I can't take credit for that, because, he said, meaning that moment should just be about you and your life partner. And so therefore you have to hold space for it to be a really integral part of who you guys are. And so it should be the most integral people and parts of your lives, which is why I also invited you.
Oh, thank you. That is so incredibly kind. And going from there as well, I know at the very start of this, we mentioned, of course, martial arts. I know it is a huge part of your life, has been a part of your life, I think, just as long as restaurants, correct? It is your life. So I would love to kind of talk about the things that come from martial arts, the discipline, the energy, the balancing of things. How does that impact your style of service here in restaurants? What have you been able to pull from that mastery and that expertise into this world?
Gymnastics was a huge part of my life. It made martial arts very easy. because it's a lot of the same fundamentals. But one thing I learned from gymnastics at an early age and then martial arts as a young man was that it taught me how to master myself. But moreover, it gave me the tools and it gave me the outline of how to master something. And I firmly believe that once you learn how to master something, you can apply that to every other aspect of your life. So if I became a master mechanic, it doesn't matter if I decided to be a chef then, or an actor, or a comedian, or any other foray of a career. I would just use what I know and what I've mastered. And it could be work ethic. It could be something as simple as how I do things, or the zen that in the way that I do things, which makes me a very successful martial artist or a mechanic. So in short, martial arts really, what does it teach you? Well, self-defense, self-discipline, self-respect, self-esteem, self-confidence. You're learning all these things about your inside self by doing all this physicality. And so I think whittled down or boiled down to the distilled version, you make savage your body to civilize your soul. And so it started with martial arts, where I started to connect after about 10, 15 years of doing it, that I realized like I can apply a lot of what I'm learning because I'm really starting to become in control of myself. And I fought a lot as a young man. I mean, every single podcast or speaking engagement I've done that involves martial arts, the origin story is that I got beat up a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
It became part of my armor. It was like, don't try to hurt me. Why? Because I've been hurt before. And so now I'm armed. I have armor. I work out. I have tattoos. And these are all things as a young person you don't realize aren't really what's important.
Yeah.
Then as you get older, and certainly for me, I realized through martial arts that it armed me so that now I can deal with this human being because I know how to diffuse or neutralize them physically. So now I can be a diplomat emotionally and not have to get physical. The same thing holds true, and it's very, very similar. There's so many similarities between martial arts in the kitchen and martial arts dealing with people. Martial arts literally means, in Chinese, martial arts means to help others that can't help themselves. And that could not be more true when you're dealing with really irate guests that maybe, to me, I don't know about you, Aidan, but in the 40 years I've been in the business, the people that are very irate and upset at a restaurant were really already upset and irate before they came to the restaurant.
Absolutely.
And now you're just an outlet or a venue for them to express their unhappiness in general.
Yeah.
So for me, it gives me, I gotta be honest, the fact that I want to punch someone in the face when they're being completely belligerent and rude. I don't stand for anybody that's inappropriate, rude, or assaulting in any way to any of my staff. I'm a business owner. I have the right to ask you to leave. I'm not going to let you verbally or physically assault and be inappropriate with any of my staff. But on the other side of that, issues with service and problems that happen in a restaurant, being able to have the knowledge to know that you've done a lot of work on yourself, and you've done a lot of work on what it takes to work in a place that's full of knowledge and respect, really gives you, and like I said, again, gives you the ammunition to kind of let things roll off your back. And that also ties into the added situation with me where I don't let little things get to me, and it's a lot of times it affects my staff, but I tell them, look, step away, take a deep breath, then reapproach, and realize that that person has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Gonna kind of jump into our last little segment here that we do on All in Good Taste. So we have set up what we like to refer to as our tasting menu. It
Okay.
is a set of 6 questions that we asked all of our guests just to kind of get a different variation from your experience and kind of see how they get answered. Obviously, since it's the first time we're doing it, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on what we're asking and what we're going through.
Sure.
So first up, we have our amuse-bouche. What is a small gesture of hospitality that's had the largest impact on you?
I think, again, because that's what I try to emulate, is the times that I've gone somewhere, and it could be a restaurant, or it could be on an airplane, or at a hotel, or anywhere where the owner or the person that was taking care of me knew what I didn't like. Either they could read my body language.
Yeah.
I'm trying something on, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, well, I can tell you don't like that.
Yeah.
So I think being able to anticipate or know what a person wants and doesn't want before they actually verbalize it really resonates with me.
Heard. Jumping into our appetizer, what dish, drink, or moment first made you fall in love with this industry?
Wow, it literally would be my mom. My mom was the chef at all 3 of their restaurants. Mm-hmm. And I was a very picky eater as a child, and I only ate like vegetables, like soft-boiled eggs and rice. I wasn't really into meat. I was a very picky eater. And then when I was 8 years old, I would sneak a peek into my parents' business because we lived above it, and I would see my mom cooking and all the food that she made by hand, the handmade burgers, her homemade pasta, all the food that she made from scratch. Literally, like most chefs, and I think most restaurateurs and hospitality professionals, were inspired by either their grandmother, grandfather, mother, or father who was cooking at home. And for me, my home was a restaurant.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Yeah. I know you also just, not jumping straight through this, but I know you also just celebrated your mom's birthday,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, I did.
Is there a favorite dish that she always cooked you that like just speaks to you?
Absolutely. There's a dish in the Korean culture. I'm Korean, my stepfather's Chinese, but every birthday and every January 1st, the firstborn son of any Korean family eats a rice dumpling dish. So it's like sirloin, egg drop with a broth or a stock, and then sliced rice dumplings. So it's our version of chicken and dumplings, but it's beef and rice dumplings. And I don't know if this is a family show, but I'll be a little graphic. It's
you can be graphic.
It's like
That's
2
fine.
angels fucking on your tongue. It's like my
I love
texturally
that.
amazing, but then the flavor is unbelievable, and I've had it everywhere, but my mom's is the best.
I'm gonna need some recommendations from you because I would love to have 2 angels fucking on my tongue. That sounds
Absolutely.
perfect, Jason.
Well, you're gonna find a lot of that here at the Gavroche menu.
Heard. Which obviously you do have to come down if you've never came and joined Jason here. Jumping into our entree, what's the hardest part of the work that the guest never gets to see?
Ooh, unclogging toilets weekly.
Yeah.
Butchering.
Yeah.
Cleaning up fluids that you randomly find
I've definitely done that before.
outside the restaurant, in the restaurant. I think, I always tell the staff, especially the front of the house staff, but also the back of the house staff, because we're an open kitchen here, that here's a restaurant business at the level that we're doing. It's a swan. It's beautiful. It's graceful. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Long neck,
Everything.
eyelashes, white, just graceful. But under the water, you see these legs frantically going like this. So what most guests don't see on a nightly basis across the board, back of the house, front of the house, is all the prep, all the butchering, all the hard work, sweat, and the preparation that goes into a restaurant. And that includes the bathrooms. We're a small restaurant.
Yeah.
The bathrooms are beautiful here. My
Stunning.
fiance did an amazing job designing them. So even like cleaning the toilets,
Yeah.
like people don't realize that the dirty end of the stick is not what you see when you walk into a restaurant. So it's not just one thing, it's all of it.
Heard. Going into a palate cleanser now. Tell me about a time that spontaneity led to something unforgettable.
Wow. Well, there's many times. I mean, every restaurant's done it. It's been on the bear. When you're really trying to go give that extra bump and, exceed guests' expectations. I've run to the store in the 40 years that I've been doing this. I've run to the store. I mean, even here I did it because there's a liquor store down the street, and we didn't have a particular champagne that the guests liked because we only carry 3 champagnes, and they happen to be my favorite 3 champagnes.
What are your favorite 3 champagnes, Jason?
Number 1 is Ruinart, number 2 is Krug, and then number 3 is Bielka Samo.
Delicious.
And he wanted a vintage, Dom Perignon, and I ran down the street and got it for him. And I've done that at every restaurant, whether I owned it or I worked at a restaurant, and a guest told me, hey, I really wish I had that. It's been encapsulated in the bear where, cousin heard
working at Everett, correct?
They wanted a Chicago slice of pizza.
Yes.
And he went and got one for them. And I think every person that loves what they do in this business, that pretty much is the epitome of what we do in the restaurant business. So there's too many to name. Going after the guy that stole someone's cell phone was something I did spontaneously.
Chase them all the way down the street. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a fight with you after what we've already talked about.
But it's all the little things. If someone mentions that they like our coffee, I've given bags of coffee to people, and I hope now everyone doesn't take advantage of this podcast. We love your coffee here.
We love your caviar. Can you tell?
Exactly. I do a lot of that. If a guest likes a bottle of Sauterne, a glass of Sauterne, we offer them a bottle.
That's nice
to take home with them. It's a small little, split.
Yeah.
But things like that.
That's awesome. Going into our dessert round here, what does good taste mean to you?
Ooh, good taste to me is a balance between confidence and humility. Something that's sophisticated, but also down to earth. I think good taste is purity. I know that when you're being completely honest and saying, listen, not everybody else might think this is an acquired taste.
Yeah.
And just being honest and transparent. It's a balance.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, we have our digestif. If you could leave listeners with one lesson from your journey, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I don't think I can encapsulate in one thing because there's so many. So definitely don't smoke cigarettes. That would be the number 1 lesson if I could just have one answer. But for me, it would be a few things. I stand by a lot of things that I believe in that are life lessons. And if my son asked me that, it would to always be honest, always be true to yourself, never lie. I mean, these are all pretty basic things, but again, coming from someone that's really reviewed their life in many different ways a few times, I would definitely have to say, be kind to everyone, but don't take any shit from anyone.
Jason, thank you for reminding all of us that, hospitality isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And I can't think of a better person to share that story with us today. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Aidan Descourouez. This has been All in Good Taste.
It was my absolute pleasure.
I'm giving you a hug across the table.
It was an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, but.